Welcome to the Morning Blitz with John Abraham, Captain Cool, and the Bandiman Bailey Lowery. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Captain Cool.
Hello and welcome in to a Madhouse Monday here in No Man's Land. John Abraham, Captain Cool, alongside the Bandiman, Bailey Lowery. Glad to be along with you guys again. And, well, let's just say we got a lot to talk about. And, Bandy, first to start off, we're obviously going to have Drew DeArmond on it to talk a little bit about Alabama's performance over in the basketball scene. But I do want to talk about this weekend because it was a great weekend, not only for the sports, but overall, just, a good weekend. I got to spend time with the family, I got to see my sister. She had some big news for me that my dad probably already spoiled, and I didn't even realize because I don't read the group chats. And on top of that, I got to see my other brother come down. And then, we got to play some Mario Wonder, and that was very fun with your dog. I loved your dog, dude. Dre's the coolest little dog around. He was hanging out with us all day yesterday. And then we got to watch some football. And Bandy, we had some intriguing games, to say the least. And
what some football it was.
Yeah, we'll definitely be getting into those, of course. Kansas City Chiefs versus the Ravens and the Detroit Lions versus the 49ers in the conference championship games. And, we're definitely going to break down each one of those matchups. We're going to get into the phone lines with you guys. We're going to talk about them. We're going to break down why Eminem was flicking off the fans, because that was just wonderful to see. And then on top of that...
Did that set the precedent for
the downfall
for the Chiefs the comeback?
Yeah, I would say the downfall of the Lions.
Or sorry, the 49ers.
Yeah, and then the 49ers, of course, with the 24 unanswered points starting in the second half with the 17 points. It was just a sloppy little mess from the Detroit Lions at the end of that one. Dan Campbell obviously betting on his team a few times. And, you live on that hill, going for it on fourth down, and that was something that they were able to succeed with throughout the season. And then, of course, the dropped passes, and that's when it really came downhill for that Lions squad. And we'll get into that in the second segment, but for now, we will hop into our conversation just to talk about this Alabama state of play, because Alabama getting their sixth 100-plus point game of the season. They are doing some big stuff, and it came in a big way against the LSU Tigers. And to help us out with this matchup and just talking about the Crimson Tide is one Mr. Drew DeArmond from Talkin' Ball, presented by Mercury Motors and Alumni Hall. Drew, how you doing?
Doing well, guys. How you doing? It was certainly a good win for Alabama. They played, basically to their peak offensive efficiency. They scored 109 on this LSU team, which came in leading the SEC in steals, but they gamble a lot, and Alabama was able to move the ball, and I think they ended up with 24 assists, which is outstanding. The ball never got stuck, and the gambling didn't pay off for LSU because Alabama was able to protect the basketball. They didn't turn it over very often. They were really good in transition in the second half, and then a big key, too, is that LSU fouled a lot because of the gambling. And Alabama, by, the 8-9 minute mark of the second half, was already in the two-shot bonus, and they shot the basketball really well from the free throw line. Mark Sears could never really get it going from three. He was 0 for 5, but he did other things. He was 11 of 11 from the line. He had 5 2-point field goals. He was able to get going to the rim. And it still ended up with 21 points. He was able to manufacture stuff. So Sears is the kind of guy, even if his threes aren't dropping, he still knows how to get to the rim, still knows how to get to the free throw line and finish. And he still ended up with a game-high 21. Aaron Estrada had a bounce-back game. He had a burn-the-tape game against Auburn, but he really played well, got into a rhythm early, against LSU, and then it was balanced. I think he ended up with 18, Latrell Wrightsell ended up with 19 and hit 4 threes. He's been a quality addition. As a friend of mine that had been previously in the media said, it was probably a good trade, Namari Burnett to Michigan for Latrell Wrightsell from Cal State Fullerton. Latrell's not as big, maybe not as quite as good a defender, but he's a really good offensive player, plays hard. And then they've had guys step up, like Mo Diabate had 8 points. He's kind of forced his way into the rotation. Davin Cosby got a few minutes. Sam Walters. It's not going to be a great defensive team, but they've got to play hard on that end. I thought that another key to the game was they won the rebounding battle against LSU, and so they've got to continue to scrap. Early, I thought they gave up too many offensive rebounds, but they settled in, and I thought in the second half they really played well. It really started at the end of the first half because they went on a little spurt to get up 50 to 44. It was reported as 42, but then they went back and reviewed a tip-in, and it had been waved off, and they gave it to LSU. So it was only a 6-point game at halftime. No. But Alabama did a great job of coming out of the locker room and getting control of the game. And once they started getting to the free throw line, and Sears and guys were, of course Grant Nelson was converting. It was going to be really tough. It was a balanced score sheet for Alabama. You had, like I said, 5 in double figures. Grant Nelson's getting better, getting more efficient offensively. He's not depending as much on the three. He needs to continue to try to get downhill and finish, and he's doing a good job of that. And they went with a little bit of a different starting lineup, too. Went with a smaller lineup. Grant played the 5 a little bit. They benched Nick Pringle to the second half because he's not been playing great basketball. Mohamed Wagee is a guy that's going to be limited because of a foot injury. He can't play tons of minutes, so that's allowed Mo Diabate to get some time, even though he's undersized. But Alabama went with really a 4-guard look. You could say that Rylan Griffin back in the starting lineup was at the 4, but really he's a guard. Everybody knows that, a guard and a wing. Yeah. He fouled out in the game but had 12 points, shot the 3 well. And then you had Latrell Wrightsell, you had Mark Sears. You had just a smaller lineup out there for Alabama and Aaron Estrada, and it worked against LSU. Now, we'll see if it works against Georgia, if that same lineup works on Wednesday. Georgia's a good offensive team under Mike White. And, again, Alabama's going to need more out of their bigs. I mean, they need better basketball, better play out of Mohamed Diabate, who is giving him that. He's playing hard, but they need their 2 true bigs, Mohamed Wagee and Nick Pringle. They need to play better. If Alabama's going to make a run to the second weekend of the NCAA tournament, they need better, interior play because their guards are really, really good. They're deep there. But I thought it was a good week for Alabama. Now it's a tricky week because you get Georgia on the road Wednesday, and then Mississippi State, which is probably going to be a sold-out Coleman Coliseum for that rematch. So it's going to be an interesting week for Alabama. And conversely for Auburn, they had a rough week. Yeah. They lost a heartbreaker to Alabama, 79-75, and then they had it's tough to bounce back when you got to go to the hump. And they had to go to Mississippi State, and they shot it horrendously. I mean, as I said on Talking Ball, when you take out UAH transfer Chaney Johnson and Jonah Broom, they shot 8 for 11. Very, very good job. Yeah. The rest of the team, 12 for 45. Oof. They couldn't throw it in the ocean, and they ended up losing 64-58. So they still don't have any quad 1 wins, which, right now it's nothing. You can't overreact to that because I think Auburn's going to, get some opportunities later in the year, especially at home. They could play Alabama in a couple weeks at Neville Arena. They're very, very difficult to beat there. They get Vanderbilt at Neville this week, and I think they're going to smack them. And then they have a tricky road trip to Oxford to Ole Miss. So that's going to be interesting, but I think they've got the ability to bounce back, no doubt about it. But, again, it's going to be right now the SEC to me, after seeing everybody, it's Tennessee, and then Alabama and Auburn are probably battling it out for 2 and 3 because Kentucky still may end up being number 2, but they haven't sold me yet. Kentucky is, I think, very talented. I still think they're in the top 4. And then you start talking about the South Carolinas, who've been a huge surprise, Florida, Georgia. The bottom of the league, though, is not very good.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, I thought Arkansas would be way better than they are.
They were supposed to be a top 15 team, but Ernest T. Bass, they're awful. They're playing another awful team at Missouri coming up this week. Mizzou's not good. Arkansas is not good. Vanderbilt, they're horrendous. Yeah. I mean, the bottom of the league just is not very good right now, and so that's why I don't think the SEC is quite as strong as it has been. Just because of the bottom of the league, is there's some teams like they're bad losses. If you can't beat the likes of Vanderbilt, Missouri, even Arkansas right now, that's going to hurt your resume because they're just not very good basketball teams. And so it's going to be interesting to see, how things continue to develop, and if other teams continue to separate. But I think Alabama has a chance to contend. I thought they did at the start of the season. But they've got some tricky road games coming up. You got to try to steal. Usually in this league, you play 9 on the road, 9 at home. If you can steal 3 or 4 on the road, then you got a chance to be seated high and compete for a championship. Now, they did better than that last year. They were a dominant basketball team. The only potential dominant team I've seen is Tennessee, but they even had lost one at the hump. So it'll be interesting. And they were down at Vandy. So before they woke up and came back and won it impressively.
Yeah, definitely a lot of interesting storylines to go down. Of course, we talked with you last week, obviously, after the Auburn matchup, and we kind of talked about the things that we need to see do better moving forward. And you talked about Estrada getting a little bit more in the paint, and that's exactly what he did against LSU. And then we did talk about how, Mississippi State is a tough team at home, and Auburn's going to struggle with it, especially coming off of that Alabama loss. And then they go in and they hardly put up, any points in that one as they lost. It was 64-58. Tough loss for them, and they'll be going up against Vanderbilt next. So a little bit easier. But then they do have to go back and play Alabama, and this one, again, will be at home. And this kind of brings us back to, well, is Auburn going to be that top 3 team in the SEC? Are they going to establish themselves, or is Alabama going to be able to pull away and then continue on their churn up to the top of the SEC mountain, which atop of it right now is a tough Tennessee team. But again, Mississippi State able to beat them at home as well. So how much are we looking into this Auburn loss? I would say not too much, but Drew, kind of just to finish off, we know you got a big game to go to tonight. Kind of just tell the people what they're going to be looking forward to in Huntsville tonight.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. And again, I think Auburn is still a top 3 team. I think they're going to bounce back. I mean, they've got that Ole Miss road trip before they get Alabama because, Alabama will be a big game for Auburn because if they don't – because Vanderbilt it's a must win just simply because you don't want the bad loss. But Ole Miss would have a chance to be a quad 1 win, and then Alabama would be another one. So that game will be a 6:00 game at Auburn at Neville Arena. It's going to be a raucous environment. But speaking of raucous environments, it should be a great crowd. I know it's a little early for everybody. It's really before you even get off work. But those of you that can. We had Coach Don Real on the show this morning of the Bartlett Panthers. They're ranked 65th in America. They're from Bartlett, Tennessee is actually in the suburbs of Memphis, which is a hotbed for basketball in the state of Tennessee. They're 20-2. A very, very good team. Ironically, Huntsville High's only loss was to Montverde, the number 1 team in the country. Montverde is actually going to play Bartlett on February the 10th. Wow. So this is a Bartlett team that's extremely good. They've got 2 Division I guys, an Abilene Christian signee, an Arkansas State signee. Huntsville, of course, has Caleb Harrison headed to Samford, has several juniors getting Division I looks. This is going to be a lot of talent on the floor. Both 2 teams that like to get up and down the court, and this was a game that was added due to Snowmageddon and Ice-mageddon that we had where we lost a week of basketball. So Huntsville High is playing Bartlett tonight, or I guess I should say early evening, late afternoon at 4:30 p.m. You can pay at the door, or you can you go to GoFan and come see this game. Huntsville High has played a very difficult schedule. They've already seen the likes of Austin, who's number 2 in 7A 3 times. They've already played Central Phoenix City, who's ranked in the top 5, top 10. Very good team, very athletic team. The defending champion Hoover Buccaneers, and not to mention the number 1 team in 6A basketball that you guys know very well, which is the defending champion Buckhorn Bucks. Buckhorn got a nice, impressive area win over Hazel Green, their rivals. I know the other night, and I know you guys were on the call for that. So Buckhorn trying to finish out their regular season this week. I believe that was their last home game of the regular season against Hazel Green. So they're going to finish on the road this week. But Buckhorn's a very good team as well. Huntsville's beat them in a high-level game at Huntsville. So they've seen a lot of ranked teams. Huntsville's played a very difficult schedule. So has Bartlett. So these teams both should be ready for one another. It should be a fun afternoon. So if you don't have plans, or if you get off work a little early, please come by Huntsville High and catch two really good programs. That is the old saying is they want the smoke. They want to play a tough schedule. They want to test themselves, both trying to get ready to make long postseason runs. Huntsville coming off of a 56-45 road win in a very tough environment over at the Jungle at Grissom, where it clinched the 7A Area 7 championship. Huntsville will finish off area play at Sparkman on Tuesday, and then they will have senior night at home, their last home regular season game before the area tournament against I believe they're number 6 in the last 3A poll. The Geraldine Bulldogs are coming into town to play on senior night. But it's going to be a big week for Huntsville High basketball, starting off with a huge test. And I would say, based on what I've seen and heard about Bartlett, this is probably going to be along with, Hoover, Central Phoenix City, Buckhorn. This is going to be in Austin, this is going to be one of the 4 or 5 best teams Huntsville's seen.
Definitely a fun way to start off the week. It's definitely going to be an interesting one, especially when a team is playing kind of an unknown squad that they don't play every single year. It's a lot of intrigue in that one at Huntsville tonight. But, Drew, we appreciate your time, always breaking down Alabama as well as the high school basketball in the area. But we got to hop into a break because when we come back, we're going to talk about our own high school team in the Buckhorn Bucks, as well as some playoff football on the other end here on the Morning Blitz on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
One of the best-kept golf secrets in the Tennessee Valley is Cherokee Ridge. Cherokee Ridge truly offers golf at a higher level with immaculate greens set against a spectacular Appalachian backdrop. This 18-hole championship course takes every advantage of rolling hills, whispering woods, lakes, and streams. Interested in becoming a member? Their membership plans feature affordable options for couples, families, and individuals. Book your tee time today, 256-841-4551. Cherokee Ridge. Championship quality, affordable prices. Since 1986, Full Moon Barbecue has been cooking quality meats low and slow over a hickory wood-fired pit. From ribs and wings, brisket, turkey, catfish, and sausage to the best butts in town. If you're planning a holiday or a birthday party, Full Moon has a large banquet room. And Full Moon is ready for your next catering or tailgate. Just call us and we'll take care of everything. 256-713-0070. Full Moon Barbecue on the Parkway next to Costco. The best little pork house in Alabama. Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
At Mr. Sparky, we're America's on-time electrician. Flickering lights and hot switches can be annoying, but they can also signal a major problem, or worse, an electrical emergency. So play it safe and leave it to the experts at Mr. Sparky. Trust our team of professional, clean, and friendly electricians. We'll get it done right and get it done safely.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888-8-SPARKY.
Independently owned and operated, licensed in the respective state or county.
All across the nation, we are here for our communities.
We're doing our part to get supplies where it's needed in order to fight COVID-19 together.
Got to do what we got to do, helping the people that did lose their jobs and lost their income, and now they don't have money for their food.
It feels good to be out there to assist our community with what we're dealing with. It's what you sign up for as a soldier.
We will not rest until the mission is complete.
Each one of these soldiers, once they received the call, they understood that all hands were on deck. This goes to the core of what citizen soldiers do.
We are your Army National Guard.
I would like our friends and family to know that your National Guardsmen are always ready and always there.
Always ready, always there. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more. Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard. Aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Emily Owen. For this Monday, expect partly sunny sky. High temperatures going to be topping out in the upper 40s for the afternoon. Heading into your Monday night, we'll see a mostly clear sky. Low temperatures falling back below freezing. It looks like we'll bottom out in the upper 20s to lower 30s for some of us. Looking ahead into your Tuesday, we'll see plenty of sunshine. High temperatures topping out in the mid to upper 50s for the afternoon. I'm Fox 54 meteorologist Emily Owen on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
I wanna thank you. Thank you for making us your number one choice for sports talk in North Alabama.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Hello and welcome back in. John Abraham, Cap Cool, alongside the Bandiman, Bailey Lowery, here on a Madhouse Monday in no man's land. Having a lot of fun on this beautiful, beautiful morning. It's a little bit cold. It's a little bit cold outside, but you know
cold.
what? I was totally fine with the 60-degree weather we had over the week last week, but now it's time to get back down to earth and talk a little bit about Buckhorn basketball because, this team is absolutely elite. We love to see it happen as they went up against Hazel Green on Friday. And it was a good little matchup. Buckhorn got ahead very quick in this one and then kind of eased off the gas a little bit in the second.
But stayed ahead.
Consistently stayed ahead. But Hazel Green did put up 25 in the fourth quarter alone, bringing the final score to 61-49. Buckhorn, again, having a nice assertive victory to finish off area play as they finish 6-0 and now have two more games left on the season. Both of them will be away. The first one's going to be against Albertville tomorrow, and then the final one's going to be against Sparkman. They're just redoing that game because they weren't able to do it because it was snowmageddon going on a few weeks back. But we're also going to hop up into the phone lines because we know we got one Natty Dan on there, okay? And I know we didn't get to talk to him last week. His final words. We didn't get to hear his final words about this Lions squad going into this game against the 49ers. So now we're going to let him have a little bit of a time to talk about his team and how proud he is. And that's when Mr. Natty Dan on the hotline. How you doing, Dan?
I'm doing quite well. Just moving a piece of furniture here. I'm good now.
No.
Yeah,
good?
It's all good, man.
Everything's
All good. I mean, you think about it, those fourth down, trying to convert those fourth down plays.
Mm-hmm.
This year they 80% completions on those fourth downs. So that's a pretty good percent. So I don't fault him, Coach, for going for it. The reward is getting into the Super Bowl. But I don't think San Francisco could beat Kansas City, and I don't even know if we could either.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like a tough challenge, especially with the 49ers. They've been kind of struggling to get to this place that they are now. Bad first halves leading into good second halves, and obviously the 24 unanswered points against the Lions is something to look at. But, I mean, you can't be too upset because, again, you got to this point because of Dan Campbell's gambles on those fourth down tries. And also, they weren't coming from the brotherly push that we got from the Eagles. They were coming from actually some interesting play calls. And they would have converted in this game. But those wide receivers just were not able to hold on to the ball. And that was a huge storyline going into the second half of that game. How do you feel about that?
Well, yeah. But they also made catches too to get us there. So,
of course.
Come on, everybody. You just can't get rid of people just because they drop a ball. Okay, you got to look at the total picture, and that's what I'm looking at here. The bottom line is that a lot of these players perform really, really well. Some pieces I think we need to add to it, and that's called free agency.
Mm-hmm.
And Brad Holmes, the general manager, and the coach Campbell, I think they know what's going on. They got the finger on the pulse, and it's most likely going to be starting with the defensive backfield. We need to beef it up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Free agency, they're under the cap quite a bit, salary cap, so they got money. Golf's got to restructure his contract. I'd like to keep him. I think he's very, very productive. So I'm not sure how much he wants. Hopefully, he won't be too selfish and try to get a contract where it's comfortable for us to afford him, but also be able to have extra money in the free agency to pay to get these players that's going to complement this team where Golf could get back in the Super Bowl. Well, you best believe in October when I go back home, I'm going to put some cash on them. I mean, I think they could get to the Super Bowl. They proved that they weren't that far off from it.
No,
it was a great start to the game. I thought, oh my God, here we go. And the reception bounced off our defensive player, which that guy came off the street, number 27. I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
Anyway, for the Lions, he came off the street basically. So because we were depleted defensively in the backfield there, so. That was a bad luck. Just bounced off, and he could have intercepted it too. But it is what it is. Man, I'm telling you guys, my life. There's so much more in my life than just football. And and I say this all the time. You know that. And I've been on this airwaves for almost 30 years. I love the state. I love everything about it. I'm not crazy about the football team, but I've always complimented the football teams because Auburn at times were really good too.
Yeah.
And the SEC is just a better brand of football. And I know I'm deviating from the NFL that we just talked about, but the bottom line is I'm trying to prove a point that life is bigger than just football. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
There's so much more to life than just football. And I think people have to realize that. And I think some people get so wrapped up in it that, if a loss, either you get upset, you drink too much, you drive behind a car, or you beat up your wife.
Yeah, you do not want to do that. There's a lot of extras right there.
Stuff. That's stupid stuff,
Yeah.
okay? So, hey, listen, I'm proud of my guys. Got nothing to be ashamed of. The fans were awesome. The field over at Ford Field, it was full of people. Lions fans, there's a lot of Lions fans at the game. They traveled a lot this year to watch their team. That just goes to show everybody how important it is for these fans that waited all these years just to get to this point, how wonderful it is and how well they travel with the team. They're true fans, just like I am.
Totally agree.
I've been with my Michigan teams forever. That's just who I am. But and that's so for me to get this far was very, very rewarding. Not to mention financially, I did well. So it's a win-win situation, everybody. It's all good. But I think Mahomes is just a different level right now. Is he as good as Brady? Well, he's on his way.
Yeah,
but
he is.
He's got to have a lot more Super Bowls than just what he has now.
For sure about that. Good stuff, Wolverine. Natty Dan. Got to keep you on that one.
You got to keep me on that one for a year, okay?
For
and then
sure.
we go back to the old boy. I got you.
And look, that is one thing to fall back on. Like, you didn't make it to a Super Bowl, but you are sitting back with a comfortable national championship.
You can't be too upset in Michigan. Either way, good stuff, Dan.
See ya.
See you, buddy. All right. Well, we're going to talk more about these games on the other end. What I thought really led to the demise. There's definitely a few things for the Lions. For the Ravens, there's some more things.
There's a little more.
And I got to say, I mean, both of them are devastating losses. One of them you get at home, and then the other one you have a humongous lead going into the second, and then it all just disappears like that. And that's just the way of the NFL. But I don't think it's as scripted. I don't know. We'll talk about that on the other end. Here on the Morning Blitz on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
3 air-chilled boneless chicken breasts and 4 juicy boneless pork chops with your order. omahasteaks.com/VSiN.
Now, here are the latest lines from my guys in the desert.
The Super Bowl is set February the 11th in Las Vegas. It'll be the Chiefs and 49ers battling it out. The teams last met in the Super Bowl in 2020 when the Chiefs beat the Niners 31-20. They're back in the championship game for the 4th time in 5 years. Kansas City looking to become the first back-to-back champs since New England did it in 2003 and 2004. The Niners are seeking a record-tying 6th Super Bowl title in their 8th appearance. San Francisco opens as a 4.5-point favorite. The underdog Chiefs at plus 180, the total 47.5. With the AFC Championship win, the Chiefs paid plus 145 on the wager for who would win the conference title. Get the latest lines and more at vsin.com.
Injuries at work happen all the time in Alabama. So do motor vehicle and slip and fall accidents. If you're hurt at work or injured in an accident, I want you to call my good friends at Pond Lehocky Giordano. That's Pond Lehocky, Alabama's injury law firm. They got your back just like they've got mine. For personalized legal support, reach out to Pond Lehocky at 855-774-3838 or pondlehocky.com.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers. The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia, proudly saying, Roll Tide and War Eagle. Stop into University Kia today and shop one of the area's largest selection of new Kias, including Fortes, Seltos, Telluride, and Popular Carnival, and fully electric EV6. View all the great specials at universitykia.com and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia you really want, because we want to see you in a University Kia.
Hello listeners, I want to tell you a little bit about Minuteman Press and what we have to offer our community. We specialize in paper printing and can help from designing your piece to the finished product. We print media guides for many of the athletic departments at high schools and universities around the area. We typically purchase sponsorships from these schools as well to try and help them with their fundraising. Once we have reached our new normal, we also print all types of marketing materials for you to hand out either in person, via mail, or at various trade shows and events. At Minuteman Press, we're not just putting ink on paper, we're building relationships.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Emily Owen. For this Monday, expect partly sunny sky. High temperatures going to be topping out in the upper 40s for the afternoon. Heading into your Monday night, we'll see a mostly clear sky. Low temperatures falling back below freezing. It looks like we'll bottom out in the upper 20s to lower 30s for some of us. Looking ahead into your Tuesday, we'll see plenty of sunshine. High temperatures topping out in the mid to upper 50s for the afternoon. I'm Fox 54 meteorologist Emily Owen on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This will turn journalism on its ear.
Watch our stream on WZZN TV on Twitch and YouTube.
But you are the greatest hero in American history.
We are 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Hello and welcome back in. John Abraham, Camp Cool alongside the Bandiman, Bailey Lowery. I'm feeling pretty cool with that one, bringing us back here on this Madhouse Monday, as now we can look forward to the Chiefs versus the 49ers Part 2 in the Super Bowl, at least here in the 2010s. And I got to say, for, Patrick Mahomes, this is great stuff. I mean, people love a dynasty, all right? And whenever a team's able to get back to the Super Bowl many times, I mean, everybody's going to be thinking, oh, this team's really good. And for a guy like Patrick Mahomes to come into the league back in 2018 and, continue to find success, this is his fourth Super Bowl that he will be going to. The only one that he lost was against Tom Brady and that Buccaneers team. You got to say, that's a good team to lose to, okay? When you lose into Tom Brady, the guy that, you're trying to be like with all those wins in the Super Bowl. But, I mean, you look back and you get to see, Mahomes back in 2018. Even before that, Andy Reid was able to find success with this team with Alex Smith on that squad. And I got to say, that's when I was a fan of Alex Smith. I was a fan of Alex Smith when he was a 49er. Then he goes on to be a Chief. And now he's just kind of looking at his team in the Super Bowl. And then he's like, oh, geez. I was so close, man. I was so close. But then, Patrick Mahomes takes the reins. He takes this team to the conference championship, loses that one, but then
6 times in a row.
Next year, he's able to go to the Super Bowl, win that one, go back to the Super Bowl, lose against Tom Brady, go back to the conference championship, lose that one, and then go back to the Super Bowl yet again, and then go back to the Super Bowl yet again. It's quite maddening how some of these teams, and that was the joke, that was a funny joke, Madden, how some guys can just stay that good and just keep going, whereas we got guys like Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, who are getting so close every single year, but then it comes down to the same teams, the Chiefs, and then you look over on the other side. It's a little bit different. We have a little bit of a flip-flop. Whether it would be the 49ers or the Lions, at least we get a little bit of a different storyline, and we get the 49ers at the end of the day with Brock Purdy, one Mr. Irrelevant last year, being the final draft pick, taking this team to the Super Bowl. This year, you can't say, well, it was, the prior quarterback, he was able to do it all. No, this was Brock Purdy's doing, all right? They didn't need anybody else. They didn't need Trey Lance. That was just a waste of a pick a while back. They didn't need Andy Dalton. He's just, backup quarterback that helps out. A lot of other guys just evolve. All they needed was Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
And it's quite wild to see a guy, Iowa State quarterback, come into the league. He was very good at Iowa State, but, it's usually those unexpected quarterbacks that do find success.
Yeah, it's a small market school for the NFL.
For sure, Bandy.
Kind of like a Texas Tech with Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, yeah. And people can hop into the conversation, 256-5764.
97.7.
And they can talk about these games with us because we gotta talk about both of them, okay? Yeah. And Natty Dan called in. He talked about his Lions. Again, very big stuff for this team. Detroit is ecstatic. Michigan is happy. Their team was able to get all the way to the point. But there are going to be those fans that are like, we should have won, and I'm still pissed because I want it all. You want that Super Bowl. You want that national championship.
And it is tough to climb back.
But it's understandable that you want these things. And yes, it's going to be tough for the Detroit Lions to get back into this situation. It's not something that teams do every single year. Now, unless you're the Buffalo Bills back in like the 80s and 90s, that's a different story. I don't know how they kept getting back and kept losing and kept getting back. But I got to say, the Detroit Lions, they didn't lose because of Dan Campbell's play calling. He was doing fine stuff. They should have kicked the field goal, but why not go for the final, blow? You got to get ahead because if you know what's going to happen, the momentum was swinging in the 49ers' favor, you need to kind of take that momentum. And I can understand why Dan Campbell would be trying to get a stranglehold on that matchup because you want to quiet down those fans.
Right.
You don't have your Lions faithful there. You got a little bit, but everybody else is back at Ford Field in Michigan, cheering on the team. And you love to see it, but they're not actually in the stadium. You want to get that momentum your way, and he was trying to do it as soon as possible because his team had that momentum going into the second, and then it all kind of went downhill because Brandon Ayuk was able to catch that pass off of somebody's face. That's why I had that thing far off in the first two segments. And then he was able to score a touchdown next, and then Jahmyr Gibbs fumbles it. Oh, jeez. Jahmyr Gibbs had a wonderful game, by the way, despite that fumble. Yeah. I don't think it was Dan Campbell's fault.
David Montgomery.
David Montgomery had a really good game as well. And that's one of the reasons I thought this team would be able to pull away because they don't just have a Christian McCaffrey. They got Montgomery, they got Gibbs. On top of that, Sam Laporta was having a wonderful game. There were a lot of weapons.
They got good wide receivers and Amon-Ra St. Brown.
And then Josh Reynolds started dropping balls. And it's not only him because Sam Laporta was dropping balls. 4th down attempts, they were there. You could have had a first down. The drops were all over the place, and that was a bad thing. Even on that Jameson Williams catch that almost was taken right from his hands, he was able to struggle back and pull it in. But even on that one, it was just showing how this game has been going into the second. It's like even when there's a sliver, it's almost still going to be the 49ers that pull it away. Kansas City Chiefs versus the Ravens. I am so sorry for you Ravens fans, but again, I'm a Browns fan.
I really wanted Lamar Jackson to save us.
I didn't care if you guys made it to the Super Bowl anyway, but I just didn't really want to see the Chiefs back again. And I don't hate the Chiefs, okay? I don't hate the Lions. I don't hate the 49ers. But I do hate the Ravens. And I still wanted the Ravens to get into the Super Bowl just so they could lose to whoever else is going to be playing up against them.
You know what this is? We're on the other side of what was Alabama fatigue.
Yeah.
How other teams felt about not wanting Alabama in the playoff every year. Yeah. That's how we feel about the Chiefs right now.
Exactly. And it doesn't mean we hate them. Okay.
No, we're just kind of annoyed.
One thing that I saw why the Ravens were able to lose this game, they didn't have a run game at all. Lamar Jackson couldn't even get it open, with Brock Purdy even putting up some yards that could match his. Okay, 54 yards on the ground on 8 carries. His passing game was pretty decent. He was 20 for 37, 272 yards. He had an interception. That was tough. But it's hard to beat Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. 30 for 39. 241 yards, a touchdown, no interceptions. That's one thing this guy's really good at is not throwing those interceptions. And again, he is having a spectacular playoff run. And on top of that, Isaiah Pacheco. We talked about how the running game would be a big deal. It didn't have to be a huge deal, but it was big enough in this low-scoring game to where Isaiah Pacheco could make a difference. He had a touchdown, 68 yards. They actually had a running game. That's the same for those other teams that were playing on the West. We got to see David Montgomery put up 93 yards. We got to see Christian McCaffrey put 90 yards, 2 touchdowns. Every team was finding success running it except for the Baltimore Ravens. And that was the only thing that I was going to see if the Ravens could get to the Super Bowl and find victory despite not having a good running game because, of course, J.K. Dobbins injured on the first week of the season. you do have a good running back in the form of your main man on the other side. What's his freaking name? Gus Edwards, yeah. But he's not really prevalent in this one because, well, they didn't run it enough. He had 3 carries.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you going with there? So
Kansas City did such a great job of just stuffing the run. I mean, they weren't able to really open up the pass because that's all really the Ravens used the run for, was just to kind of just throw it in there and just open up Lamar Jackson more.
Mm-hmm.
And they weren't able to do that. And lo and behold, that's going to stifle the Ravens' incredibly good offense.
Oh yeah, and Mark Andrews
able to hold on.
Mark Andrews not being a huge factor in this game, that also hurts. We were talking about
they had him marked like all game.
Talking about the tight ends, we were talking about what the teams needed to do, and the Ravens were the only team not to do it. If the Lions won, we'd be talking about how well they were able to utilize their tight ends, their running game. The Chiefs won. They were able to utilize their passing game, their tight end, Travis Kelce.
They're blessed by the script.
They're blessed by the script. No, I don't believe it. I don't believe it anymore.
They got writers from Kansas City in the writers' room.
I mean, either way, there's going to be people tuning into this game. And on top of that, for the 49ers, I just want to give a shout-out to Juwan Jennings. Franklin County, native. He played for Blackman over in Tennessee, goes on, plays for Tennessee. He's that hero. He's that hometown hero from where I used to live. And I was able to play up against him whenever we had our 7-on-7s against Blackman back in the day. And I just want to say how awesome it is for him to get that chance, get that opportunity to play in that Super Bowl. And, I mean, that's about what I got to say. The Chiefs, though, their second-half defense is just elite. It's just an elite second-half defense. Their defense overall, they did not allow over 27 points this season.
Ooh.
And that is something to definitely be proud of. Despite the worry warts, thinking that this team wasn't going to be as good, I was one of them. I didn't think they were going to be able to make that push, but once they got into playoffs, that's when everybody screwed up. They had to stop them before they had playoff contention, because once they get there, Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, there's no looking back. It's either Super Bowl or nothing. That's the Chiefs' way.
But Andy Reid really did just find his perfect quarterback.
He really did. And, whether he's done this season or he continues on, what a wonderful career he's had. Absolutely spectacular.
Just an offensive nut and be like, hey, who can run this really crazy style of offense that I'm scheming in my brain right now?
Oh, yeah.
Like probably the most versatile quarterback to come out.
For sure.
Pretty much, probably ever.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. He's able to do a lot. And the only other guy that I can really compliment that's not only, passing the ball, but he's also picking up extra yardage when it matters.
Able to play make just seemingly at will.
The only other person that I've seen do that right now is Brock Purdy. You saw him against the Lions. He was able to escape the tacklers. They only got, I believe it was like 2 sacks in that game, and they should have had a lot more. But Brock Purdy able to move around in the pocket, get around, get outside, and then throw it to his playmakers. That's the stuff that wins football games, and that's the stuff that got the 49ers to the dang Super Bowl. So now we get a good classic matchup in the Chiefs versus the 49ers. Will Mystery Relevant come out victorious, or will Patrick Mahomes continue winning Super Bowls in his young career? That's the storyline we're going to be following 2 weeks. 2 weeks from now, the Super Bowl will be going down, and we'll be following all the way. So keep it with us here on the Morning Blitz. But we got to hop to a break because we're going to close out the show. And we're going to get out of here on this Madhouse Monday. So don't go anywhere because you're listening to the Morning Blitz here on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Wake up. Breakfast. And Nature Made vitamins. Whatever your morning sounds like, Nature Made fits right in. Whether you're looking for vitamin C or a multivitamin to get key nutrients, we've got you covered. Now that's a good morning. We take care of you so you can take on your day. Start your day with Nature Made, the #1 pharmacist-recommended vitamin and supplement brand. Based on a survey of pharmacists who recommend branded vitamins and supplements.
This is Wes Neighbors sitting here with Philip Love of not only Eagle Insulation, now he represents Eagle Companies. Eagle through the years have added several companies to help individuals or builders through their construction renovation process. Eagle is known to represent quality, efficiency, and professionalism. Philip, I know you do insulation, but do you do masonry?
We do.
Do you do grading, erosion control and dirt hauled off?
We do.
Do you do after paint, which includes shower doors, mirrors, shelving blinds, and bath hardware?
Yes, we do, Wes.
Do you do landscaping and irrigation?
Yes, we do.
So basically, Eagle can help you all along your process of building your house or doing renovations. So do you do plumbing?
We do not, Wes, but we can find somebody to do it.
Just give them time. They'll be there. Anyway, call Eagle Insulation at
256-755-1556.
Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money. Call Eagle today.
Thanks, Wes.
From heirloom diamonds to contemporary jewels, Loring & Company is the place to find something truly special. Whether shopping for a diamond ring for that once-in-a-lifetime occasion or marking a milestone birthday or personal achievement with a Rolex watch, you'll find just the thing in our edit of the world's most sought-after brands, including David Yurman, Roberto Coin, Marco Bicego, and Fopay. Expect a treasure trove of the world's most unique, even breathtaking earrings, rings, necklaces, and bracelets, making choosing just one piece a challenge in itself. Loring & Company Jewelers on Airport Road.
97.7 The Zone.
Now on Saturday, you are willing to give a little extra. Then you, because of your preparation and the things I'm trying to get across to you, and if we do that as a team, 11 at a time, 4 years from now, why, we'll be walking out of here national champion. And I'll tell you this, I expect nothing less.
97.7 The Zone.
You've been paying on that life insurance policy for years, but maybe you don't really need it anymore, or it's gotten a bit too expensive. Well, before you just let it expire, let Neighbors Insurance Solutions share with you some alternatives that you haven't considered. Don't throw away something that still may have great value for you. If you want to learn more about what Neighbors Insurance Solutions can do for you, call 256-763-7693. A death benefit could be a life benefit. Learn more at 256-763-7693.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Emily Owen. For this Monday, expect partly sunny sky. High temperatures going to be topping out in the upper 40s for the afternoon. Heading into your Monday night, we'll see a mostly clear sky. Low temperatures falling back below freezing. It looks like we'll bottom out in the upper 20s to lower 30s for some of us. Looking ahead into your Tuesday, we'll see plenty of sunshine. High temperatures topping out in the mid to upper 50s for the afternoon. I'm Fox 54 meteorologist Emily Owen on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You know, Bandy, there's only one defense better than the Kansas City Chiefs.
What defense is that, Captain Cole?
Oh, well, that's the defense of Fleming Roofing and Restoration. The guys you need to talk to about all of your roofing needs. If you're having any roofing problems, make sure you look them up online at FlemingHSV.com to fill out your free quote today. And remember that Fleming always shows up. You got a little bit of a dry spell, all right, this week. Just a little bit. It's still going to be overcast, and it might, pour down a little bit later on. But get Fleming out if you were seeing any problems during the rainstorm last week. Definitely get them out and let them fix up whatever you got. But, Bandy, we look over at this Alabama win now. And we were talking about it early with Drew DeArmond from Talkin' Ball, presented by Mercury Motors and Alumni Hall. And, it was great. It's great to talk about it. But we didn't put enough emphasis on, the history that was made with that 109 points. What it is for Alabama is this is the 6th 100-plus point game of the season. And that's already breaking a record because it's never happened before for Alabama Crimson Tide. And they were able to do it not only against Morehead State, where they won 105-73, not only against Indiana State, where they won 102-80, not only against South Alabama, where they won 102-46, not only against Eastern Kentucky, where they won 111-67, and not only against a team like Liberty, 101-56. Now, look, you're going to have those people that are looking at these wins over 100 and saying, well, that's easy. You're playing up against no-name competition. I'll say this. South Alabama, not no-name. Eastern Kentucky, not no-name. Liberty, a little bit in basketball.
Maybe.
But then going up against a team like LSU, an SEC squad, okay? Alabama could have played up against Vanderbilt, and getting over 100 is still an impressive feat. Alabama was able to do it against LSU, an SEC squad. And it didn't even, we didn't think they were going to get there. They got 50 in the first half. They were going into the second. It was a little bit slow for the points to start get rolling. But once they started rolling, Bandy. 3-pointers. How much was the percentage? 41. Exactly what this squad wants. Exactly what they need. And you know what? LSU was doing fine on offense too because they had 39%. But 41, just that much better. Hitting 3-pointers left and right, able to get on a roll. And then the turnovers, the defensive rebounds, absolutely elite. 31 defensive rebounds and a lot of points that came from those rebounds as Alabama was able to finish off the Tigers 109 to 88. Big stuff from the Crimson Tide, and it's only gonna get better, Bandy. It's only gonna get better.
Yeah, no, that was just good fundamental basketball out of the Alabama squad. I mean, everybody was involved on offense. All of the starters getting into double-digit territory.
Oh, yeah.
31 defensive rebounds, 42 total. I mean, you were just denying LSU second chance opportunities. Fantastic.
Yeah.
On top of the assists.
Yeah.
23 assists as a team. And then also as a team, because that's the magic stat line. It's 50, 40, 90 as a player. 50 from the field, 40 from 3, 90 from the line. That's what you want to hit. Doing that as a team, very impressive. Just almost as a team, 89.3 from the line. But come on, that's close enough.
Close enough.
You round up. I mean, come on, our teachers round that up to an A.
They would. Well, mine wouldn't.
Some of them wouldn't.
Depends on where you're living at. These school systems
Depends on
might
who you
hit you
got.
different. Yeah, they
Depends
might
on
hit
what
you
classes you take.
But yeah, Wrightsell having 19 points. Grant Nelson, getting back into the groove of things, working in the paint. He's able to make some magic happen. He's got 12 points. Aaron Estrada, a guy we talked with Drew about last Friday, really wanted to see him kind of come back and start making a difference for this team. He was able to put up 18. He was making magic happen under the rim as well.
Yeah.
And you just love to see it. Mark Sears continuing to do what he's been doing all season long, putting up 21 points in this game. And then Ryan Griffin got 12 himself. So it's great to see the team all working together. And we talk about it with, Patrick Harding's Buckhorn Bucks, okay? The chemistry is perfect. Alabama's chemistry, in this game at least, was nearly perfect.
Yeah.
Could have been well over 111 points if some of these buckets just went through. But, you're not going to make every single one of them.
I think I like it now where, the shots that just didn't go in, they were still good looks. But I think Nate Oates just finally has the idea of what rotations he wants to have in mind with this squad, really, who he wants in at certain times. Doing very well adapting to the game. And, man, the improvement from this squad from the very beginning of the year has been very impressive.
Oh, yeah.
And there used to be a lot of defensive problems, and there still are problems on the defensive end. Like Drew brought up.
Yeah.
Defending under the basket and defending the paint has been a consistent problem this year because they are such a guard-heavy team. But there's going to be ways to play around that, and I got confidence in Nate Oates that he's going to come up with a game plan to either really work around that or to just try to eliminate that entirely.
Yeah, for sure about that. Alabama still undefeated in SEC play at home. The only loss they've been given at home was against that Clemson squad earlier on in the season. But,
I would like some more blocks out of Grant Nelson, though.
Yeah. He's one of those big bodies where you need to see a little bit more of that defensive play, and I think he'll get to that point, okay? First year with the team, it's going to slowly start melding, and we're going to get to figure out a little bit more of what he's got to offer as Alabama travels to Georgia to play up against the Bulldogs on January 31st, which you will be able to listen to on our station. And then an intriguing matchup. Thankfully, we don't have to play at Mississippi State. But Alabama goes up against the Bulldogs on February 3rd, and then again that rematch against the Auburn Tigers, which me, Drew, and you are all thinking, this team's solid. But, of course, Alabama was able to shake them, which led to Mississippi also getting the win. Will Auburn be able to rebound as they face off against Vanderbilt, Ole Miss, and then again back to Alabama?
They were able to contain Jonai Broome pretty well in their first matchup at home. I think that's going to be another key for when they go on the road to Neville Stadium.
Definitely something to look forward to in the later weeks. But for me and the Bandiman, we're done here on a Madhouse Monday. Tomorrow we'll be back at it, a little bit more NFL, a little bit more college. You know the deal, and Joe Hunk. Tomorrow, we'll see you guys.
It's official. 47 years in a row, Ford F-150 is the best-selling truck in America.